Pluto in the 4th house. And yeah, it's been a minute since I've been on YouTube. Part of the reason is because I've just been going through a lot of things, and when I'm going to be talking about Pluto in the 4th house, I'm actually talking about things that I'm personally experiencing too. So it's almost like I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to everyone who also has this placement and is going through it and is looking for just ways to live with this placement, ways to heal from this placement, and just transform. Because when you talk about Pluto, we're always talking about transformation, and we're always talking about this death and rebirth cycle, and this destructive and creative cycle that leads to transformation. So what happens a lot of the times is people can get stuck in the destructive part of Pluto and kind of just like get stuck there and not move on to the part where they're reborn, and that transformation happens because Pluto is not an easy, it's a very rough, there's a death that has to take place with Pluto. Something has to die, and that process is not pretty and it's very painful. It can come a lot of pain. So a lot of people get stuck in that pain and never get to see the other side of Pluto, that side where once the death occurs, the rebirth also occurs. And so I'm going to talk about that in this video, especially for having it in the 4th house specifically. But when you're having Pluto in the 4th house, so the 4th house is the deepest part of the chart. The 4th house is like our emotional foundation. It's our inner core. It's literally who we are at the deepest level. Like if you take off all the excess layers and you're just left with the 4th house, that is your center, like your emotional core. It is your childhood. It is your family, the nurturing they gave you from since you came out the womb. It is all of that. It's your childhood experience. It's how your family molded you to be who you are. It's how you feel about yourself, because your family molds that too, right, in your childhood, and all those things. It's like how you feel about yourself on a deep level. And when you have Pluto in the 4th house, there's going to be a death, right? There's going to be a destruction somewhere along the line. So what I mean by that is people that have this placement, they could either be completely severed from their family. And when I talk about this, I could mean either physically or emotionally, mentally, because with Pluto, you have to remember that a lot of the things that happen with Pluto are very hidden and they're very beneath the surface. So just because someone has this placement, you're not going to be able to look at them necessarily and see everything that's going on beneath the surface, because Pluto is beneath the surface. But now, like on a more mundane level, or more physical, when I say mundane, I mean physical level, this could be someone who literally did not know their family, like someone who grew up in foster care, or someone who was like constantly removed out of their home because maybe their parents are drug addicts or whatever. Like there's just a separation that happens. Let's say you do grow up with your family, there could be a lot of dark things, dark secrets that again happen below the surface. Things that the people, like the average person, doesn't really want to hear about, like things you kind of keep to yourself. There's a lot of things that you keep to yourself if you have this placement. When you think of family, you think of warmth, you think of love, and you think of the people that nurture you and make sure that you're okay before you have to go out into the world, right? That 10th house, at 4th house and 10th house axis, the nurturing you receive in the 4th house is what gives you the strength, I'll say, to be able to step out into this world and, just function and be who you are. And so with Pluto here, it's like you have no foundation. The foundation is essentially like it's not there, it's destroyed. And when I say the foundation is destroyed, don't take that in a negative way, because Pluto destroys, but Pluto destroys for a purpose. It doesn't just destroy it for the sake of destroying the house it is in. It destroys, but the purpose of it is transformation. So one of the things that Pluto deals with is violence, abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, anything that has to do with emotional manipulation, control. These are all themes you see with Pluto. So having in your 4th house, these are things that you could have literally experienced in your household. And psychologically, that does something to you. Knowing that you're not fully safe in your own home, it distorts it distorts your entire perception of life and the world, because your own household wasn't safe. Because Pluto deals with things that need to come up. It deals with darkness, and it deals with also generational things that aren't being spoken about, that need to be brought up. So a lot of the times you don't even know what, you can just sense that something is lurking beneath the surface, whether it comes to your parents, whether it comes to or caretakers, or just the energy in that house. And something there needs to be transformed. That's why you're placed there, right? And that's actually part of the process of healing and transformation with Pluto, is bringing these things to the surface. And out of any other placement, this is a placement for people who are meant to break generational curses in their bloodline, in their family. A lot of times with Pluto here, it's almost like you might not remember your childhood. I think I said that with Chiron. I think I said that with my Chiron in the 4th house video. But it's very possible, because Pluto is kind of just like a bomb. Like literally it blows up. It just destroys everything. And so a lot of the times it's like it becomes too much at a certain point, especially in your childhood. There probably was a point in time where you could have just checked out, and you don't remember everything that happened. Like I said, emotional manipulation, you don't know what's happening to you until after the fact. You can have parents that hurt you and then make you feel guilty for hurting you, and it's confusing. It confuses you. You can have parents who are controlling, who smother you, whose version of love was controlling you and almost owning you, almost possessing you, because Pluto deals with possession. And a lot of the times here, you didn't experience pure love. None of us, to be fair, like a lot of people don't, like no one's perfect, but here though it's damaging. All that toxicity that they went through, they pass it down to you, because having your Pluto here, it's like I said, generational. And if they didn't heal it, then guess what? All that stuff they didn't heal gets passed right down to you, and it's your responsibility now to heal it for yourself. Not for them, not for anyone else, but for you. A lot of times people get stuck because you can feel this storm inside of you, almost like this destructiveness, this void almost of not knowing how to love yourself because you weren't shown that, and thinking that something's wrong with you because you never received that love. And this can just lead to depression and just darkness and not seeing a way out. Having your Pluto here, I know it's not easy, but I hope that you knowing that is only the first half of the process, that is not where you're meant to stay. I hope that helps you and inspires you to get up and come up out of that darkness, because that's not where you're meant to stay with Pluto. Pluto takes you into the darkness, but it takes you there so you can grow. It almost is like, I was reading up on Pluto, and if you look at the Pluto, the symbol for it, it looks like a flower, and it looks like there's a seed. Look up I'm gonna put it up right there, and if you look at it, it's like a flower encapsulating a seed. And the book I was reading was saying, imagine that you're the seed, and with Pluto, the seed has to die first in order to be reborn to the flower. So the seed falls into the darkness, into the dirt, and it dies there. It dies. In that darkness and in that soil, in that dirt, there's a transformation that occurs. The seed, and this is all underneath, it's all in the darkness. The seed starts to grow, and it grows until finally the bud of the flower, being the seed, pops up into the light, and it continues to grow, and it continues to grow until it blossoms into a flower. And that is the process of Pluto. So if you're watching this, you might be at the part of Pluto where you're just in the darkness and you're in the dirt, you're completely away from the light. You don't know how to love yourself. You don't even know what love is. And when I say that, I mean you don't know what it feels like, because we all know what love is intellectually. Well, we all have an idea of what love is, but do you feel it when you wake up in the morning? Like, do you feel it when you look in the mirror? What states are you living in? Like, do they reflect self-love? And a lot of times, if you have this placement, or you're in the part where you're in the darkness, no, you don't feel that. And you can start to think that something's wrong with you. And I'm saying this from experience, because I thought that something was wrong with me for a majority of my life, and that's because I was in the darkness. I didn't even know I was in the darkness. And so that's, being aware that you're there is honestly the first step. But even being aware of it isn't enough, because you're still in the darkness, and you could just think that you could just not know how to find your way out, basically. And the way that you find your way out is through self-love. And I'm going to give you practical steps, because I know it's like, you're like, okay, so what? Like, I don't even know how to even begin to do that. You could be thinking that if you're watching this, like, I don't even know what that is, or what that means, what that looks like. And just being aware of this placement, first of all, because once you're aware of this placement, you say, okay, like, so I'm not just like this for no reason, I'm not just going through this for no reason. So you can begin to start to put the pieces back together. And one thing that I'm actually starting to do right now, to heal and completely transform this placement, because I'm at the part where, my head's kind of poking out of the dirt. I'm like, there's light out here. Like, I'm not, like, I can love myself. I'm allowed to love myself. I gave myself permission, basically, to start loving myself. And does that mean that I'm completely healed? No. Does it mean I don't experience the darkness of Pluto and the darkness of not having that loving foundation? No. It just means that I know that the darkness isn't all there is. Like, I know what light is now, and like, I understand that I can love myself. And so reparenting yourself is going to be a big part of healing with this placement. What that looks like on an everyday basis is you have to talk to yourself better. You have to be aware of the emotions that come up for you as you are present with these feelings that Pluto in the 4th house brings up. And you have to reconnect with your heart. You have to sit with yourself, you have to connect with your heart. How do you connect with your heart? Because I can't really answer that for you. I do it through music, writing, just breathing and being present with myself. I do it through yoga and just stretching and sitting there with my body and letting those feelings come up. Because I promise you, if you stretch and you're into yoga, you know that those feelings that those deep-seated feelings, they come up, and you have to sit there and be present with them. And it's gonna be a lot of crying, probably. It's gonna be a lot of releasing, because Pluto, you have to release. And so don't be scared to cry, okay? Because I cry all the time. And it's been the most healing thing for me, is crying. You have to grieve yourself. You have to grieve the childhood you didn't have. You have to grieve the love you didn't get. You have to grieve all of that. A big part of the process of healing Pluto anywhere, not even just the fourth house, anywhere, is grieving. And so once you allow yourself to grieve, you are then able to transform and transmute that grief into something else, something greater. And so honestly, think of your tears as the water that nourishes that seed. I know that's kind of corny, but seriously though, like, your tears are going to be the nurturance that seed needs to grow. Grieve what you didn't have. Grieve it, because you deserve that. You owe yourself that. And that's the thing, like, grieve for yourself, but don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't get stuck there. It's the difference between grieving for yourself and there's people that walk around and just feel sorry for themselves. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actually grieving this, because it is, it can be very sad. And a lot of the things, honestly, that happen with Pluto in the fourth house is very disturbing. It's something that there's things that go on in your family that shouldn't go on in a normal family. So it's okay to grieve. And then once you get there, you can really start to love yourself and build yourself back up, build up that foundation. And one technique that I'm going to start using is mirror work, because mirror work is very powerful, and it's something I've done without even knowing what it was called. Like, I've looked in the mirror myself many times and looked into my eyes. And the reason mirror work works so well is because when you look at yourself in the mirror, like when you look at yourself and you look into your eyes, you can't hide, you can't run from yourself, you can't escape the feelings you feel about yourself. Looking at yourself in the mirror and talking to yourself, everything will be revealed. Like, every emotion will come to surface with mirror work, right? So that's going to be a really big part of your healing. I'm not saying that you can't heal if you don't do mirror work, but it's a very powerful tool, in my opinion, for this placement. And I'm very excited to continue to do it consistently now, and to just nourish myself with words and affirmation and feeling, because affirmations are good, but they don't work if you don't have a feeling attached. Like, they're cool just saying them, but they're not going to work if you don't have the feeling, the deep feeling of it. So look at yourself in the mirror, because you're going to get the feeling. You know, we're human, so looking in your eyes, you're going to feel something. You know, that's the good part. That's the best part of being human, like emotion. And it can seem like a curse with this placement of having emotion, but it actually turns into your biggest blessing. And with your Pluto here, your emotions run deep. Your emotions are rich, like the soil you're buried in. That's why I love this example of the seed buried in the soil, because with Pluto here, once you start healing, that soil is rich and it's deep, and your emotions are vast, and you have this emotional capacity that no one, like a lot of people around you, might not have. And you might come off as intense to other people, but they don't know what you've been through, and they don't know what you've had to go through to get to where you're at right now. Because maybe you're watching this and you're, you know, where I'm at, but you're like, you see the light, but you still struggle with the darkness. You still feel this darkness, and that's okay, because life is about duality. Like, the darkness never really goes away. Our relationship to it just changes, right? And it's an ongoing process, but it's very beautiful, because once you once you see that light, it's very beautiful because you can ask yourself a question like, what love am I trying to birth with my Pluto here? You know, like, this is a question that after you watch this video, you need to sit down and ask yourself, write it down, and just say, like, what love am I trying to birth? And also ask yourself, what feelings do I need to sit with? And feel those feelings so you can start the process of transformation. Yeah, I'm about to wrap this video up, but one of my favorite parts of just having my Pluto here is just like, you kind of have a blank canvas for what you want love to be in your life and how you want to love yourself. There's no limit on how much you can love yourself. And I want that to just kind of sink in. Like, there is no limit to how much you can love yourself. You don't have to, there's no one you have to get permission from to love yourself. Love is free, and love is an energy you can tap into in your heart. And that's why once you clear out all the bullshit, for lack of better words, and the belief that you're not deserving of love, and once you clear out all those emotions that you've experienced and kind of just let go of that story, you can then create a new story. Creation is the final step, and the final process to Pluto is creation. So what do you want to create when it comes to love? How much do you want to love yourself? Questions like that are what you need to be asking yourself, because if you don't ask yourself questions like that, you're always going to be stuck in the darkness, because you're not thinking, you're not feeling past that story, if that makes sense. You have to completely tap into the energy of love and feel that for yourself. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. It's not. But if you're watching this and you're probably already aware that you have this placement, you're just wanting to learn more about it, that means that you're already, the hardest part is already over, right? Because Pluto in the 4th house, a lot of the times, like, I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like a lot of this stuff takes place in our childhood. So the hard part is kind of already over. Now it's just about, like, letting go of that story. And awareness is light. So again, you just being aware of it is you coming into light of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're no longer in darkness and ignorance of it. And so if you have this placement, I would really love to hear where you're at with it and what you're doing right now just to heal. And, you know, with this placement, you've been in the dark, like, you've been rock bottom with, like, there's something about being in the dark, man. Like, there's something about being so deep and so much in darkness that once you come out, that light has to be the equivalent of that darkness. So I'm gonna end it there, because I'm gonna keep on going on. But again, comment down below, like, your experiences with this placement, and I hope you got something from this video. Let's heal, let's grow, let's use astrology as a tool to help us heal ourselves and heal the world and just get better. So yeah, that's the video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, comment, subscribe, like this video so other people can see it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.